Watch the artists painting, hands shaping clay on the wheel. Coffee lines form, and upstairs, residents grill on their terrace and work on their laptops. Simple, creative, all in this one Nordic build. With that said, let's hop into the build! Our last build was a summer resort, but we're still in the spring, so I wanted to create this build to embrace the spring, which we still have for a couple of weeks. So I created this Nordic build and I was thinking what we can do during the spring more to what we already had. And I was thinking pottery. I always wanted to do it, I always wanted to try it, never had a chance, so I wanted to build it at least in The Sims. And as you might tell just from looking at the build, most probably it's not gonna be only just the pottery, so since the build is so huge, I created upstairs also the art studio where the people can paint, and there will be 2 apartments. Also next to the studio will be a coffee shop, because I was thinking when you are having your lessons and then once the day is over, maybe you just want to sit, chill, relax, or drink some coffee to gain more energy if this was too exhausted for you. So let's start firstly with the pottery build, which I created in a way that you can create your art on one side behind the separator, and then there is the studio where you can sell directly your work. And then upstairs is the painting studio where you can paint directly, and I also placed there a couple of stands so you can sell also all the paintings, so your sim can capitalize on the people who will come there, who would pay for entrance, who would paint, and then you can even sell those paintings. So I think you can become a millionaire with this build. But hey, you know me, I'm trying to stick to the realism as much as possible, and this is capitalism in its finest. I've also placed there a snack machine, of course the kiosk, so your sim can pay somewhere, and then I also cluttered the area in the pottery studio. However, when I load into the game again, my whole clutter was gone, so I did not have the energy and the will to do it again. I'm sorry, it's not gonna be there, but maybe it's for the best and you can decorate it then yourself. Now moving on into the coffee shop, I created downstairs the main area. We will also go outside, and upstairs are then the toilets. I've also used a trick which I made a short about, so if you're curious, check the link down below, how you can make these sofas accessible for your sim so they can actually sit next to the wall. Placed a couple of signs here and there so it's even more realistic, and then off to the outside we go, into the terrace. I was enjoying this part so much because I used exactly the same trick as inside, so you will have also sofas next to the wall. I just love this terrace. If it will be a beautiful day in the springtime, imagine sitting there, sipping your coffee, having your cake, looking around, enjoying the warm sun. Wonderful! And speaking of the terraces, I created upstairs this terrace which we are building right now. I'm so pleased how this turned out. I've never ever made it in this way, that it's somehow built into the roof part. And with this terrace I don't even mind the jacuzzi with the roof. I never liked it, but here I think it fits so nicely. And I also place here these planter boxes so your sim can actually plant here on the terrace. Honestly, this apartment, if I would have this, I think first of all it's super expensive, it's super fancy, and I think it's so beautiful. Once we will furnish it, you will also see. Now we are going to the first floor of the apartments. I created 2. If you have for rent, then you can have both of the apartments and play in it. Or if you are having legacies, you can have 2 families. Put there one apartment which will be not playable, it will be just rented or something, and the second one you can really play in, and you can be the owner of the business if you have also businesses and hobbies, since this build is using only this pack and of course the base game. And as I'm talking now, I was thinking, if you have for rent and if you will rent the apartment, you can get another income. So as I said in the beginning, your sim can become so rich so fast. If you have an aspiration for being rich, then I think this is the way. And speaking of the apartment itself, this one I wanted to have small, even though I think from the square meters it would be kind of like maybe 65 square meters. I don't think it's that small, really. But compared to the upstairs one, I think this one is really smaller, or on the small side. I tried to put there everything what your sim might need, so if you will play, I think in this one, cozy little apartment will be easier to play as upstairs. On the other hand, depending on what you are preferring and what is your gameplay. I also try to decorate it gender neutral, so you cannot really tell if it's for a girl or for a boy, but in my mind and how I also see decoration of this apartment, I think this one is a girly apartment. Upstairs, definitely you will feel masculine energy. I even placed the Bob Pancakes picture there because to me this was exactly a man's apartment upstairs. But again, depending on you, you can have also female living here upstairs. And also with this apartment, I used so many tricks because I was not using any other packs, so I had to be creative. As for example, creating these built-ins in the kitchen. You know me, I love built-ins, so I placed there an arch and then I placed the fridge and then I placed also 2 stoves above each other. The stoves are not really functional in the game, therefore I will place there a 3rd one. However, I think it looked so cool. In my mind, it's a microwave. We also don't have built-in microwaves, so a girl can dream. And I also placed a backsplash behind the counters. Again, it's not really a backsplash because I was not using any kits, but I placed there something similar where you can put your clutter, so you have so much more space in the kitchen. And now moving on into the bedroom, I was creating very basic bedroom, right? So there is just a bed and then the built-in closet. I love making built-in closets with all of my builds, so it's nothing new really. And I also placed there this piano. I was thinking for the skill building and it was also fitting there very nicely. Then I moved on to the bathroom. Very easy, simple layout. I think it was fitting. And then I created these lights. I think, oh, these are so gorgeous, giving the space such a modern vibe. And then I also placed there a vanity table, or like made vanity table. I don't have the vanity table, which is for free during the reward events because I'm not at home, I'm on vacation, this is pre-recorded. So, but once I will have it, mark my words, I will definitely place it in my next build. Then I cluttered the space or the living room a bunch, so we will not see only the cluttering because it might be boring, but I cluttered it a lot and I love how this looks actually. And then moving now to the kitchen, now you see me cluttering the kitchen. This is what I was saying, if you place all the kitchen clutter on these backsplashes, you have so much counters free, game changer. And the last what we will do in this apartment is the closet, so I placed there the clothes. I also placed Bob Pancakes picture here behind the bed, so it's obvious it's a man's apartment. And then I went outside and then I finalized the landscaping a little. But with that, we are slowly heading towards our tours and towards the end of the build. This was so much fun for me. I hope this was fun for you to watch. Now you have some idea what you can do next during this springtime. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to receive the notification every time that I will post. Have a wonderful rest of the day and see you next time. Bye bye!